Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Rob. I'm here with the Balkan School of Languages in Neuchâtel in Switzerland, and this channel is dedicated to helping you improve your English language skills. So today's video is focusing on 4 words which all of my students have problems with and confuse all the time. These words are still, yet, already, and ever. So our objective is to try and clarify when you should use these words, the difference in meaning between these words, which sometimes it's not that obvious, and to try and give you some examples so that you can use it correctly in your language in the future. So without further ado, let's go. So first things first, these 4 words are very often used with the present perfect, which is already quite difficult in itself. If you need a reminder on the present perfect, you can find a video that we made up here on that topic, but they're not exclusively used with the present perfect. You can use them with other tenses too, but as they're very commonly used with the present perfect, I'll use that for the examples for today. So you can use this video as a little test for yourself too. I'd give you the example, and then you have to try and decide which word you think should go with the example sentence. So let's start with a context. So imagine you're at work and it's 12 o'clock and you're thinking about lunch, and you see your colleague and you want to check if your colleague wants to come with you. So you could ask the question, have you had lunch? What would you use? Would you use, have you had lunch still? Have you had lunch already? That's right. The best one to use here is yet. Have you had lunch yet? Now, yet is most often used at the end of a sentence. So that's a point that can help you with this exercise in any case, but you need to try and put yet at the end. So yet we can use in the question. Now the response. The affirmative response would be yes, I have had lunch. Which one's the best one to use? That's right, already. Yes, I have already had lunch. So in the question you need yet, but in the affirmative response you need already. Now the negative response, no. Which one would you use for the negative? Okay, that's right, you also need yet for the negative response. So no, as I mentioned before, yet it comes at the end of the sentence. So no, I haven't had lunch yet. So it's important to see here, yet is used only in the question and the negative, never in the affirmative. Now, for the negative, there is a variation. You could also use the word still. You need to put still in a different place. If you use still, it doesn't come at the end. You could say, no, I still haven't had lunch. But the meaning is a little bit different if you use yet or if you use still in this sentence. So the example with still you would use more if it's perhaps 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You would then maybe say, I still haven't had lunch. Because if you use still in the negative like this, it's a bit like you're complaining. Like normally you should have had lunch already by now. And you're a bit fed up. It's a bit late. I still haven't had lunch. It's late. But if you use yet, it's more neutral. It's just a fact. I haven't had lunch yet. The mistake that my students often make is also with the question, is that they'd like to use already in the question, which is understandable because in French you use the word déjà, which if you look in a dictionary normally translates as already. And in English you could say, have you already had lunch? It's grammatically correct. But in English we use this more if you're a little bit surprised about something. So if you ask a question with already in the question, you sound a little bit surprised. For example, you see your colleague coming back from the cafeteria at 11 o'clock. It's a little bit early. You're a bit surprised. So you could say, have you already had lunch? So there you're surprised, and we use already in this context to accentuate that you're surprised. So if you write an email to somebody and you use already in the question, the person could read that and interpret the tone that you're surprised. when you didn't intend it. This is a very specific context, and it's probably not what you mean the majority of the time that you want to ask this question. So you need to try and remember to use yet in the question if you're not surprised. Now, we haven't discussed the word ever yet. So this is a different context. Ever means at any time in your life. So if we try and use the same example and say, have you ever had lunch? This is a ridiculous question. Of course, everybody has had lunch at some time in their life. Everybody eats every day. Everybody must have had lunch at some stage in their life. So to ask somebody, have you ever had lunch? It's a very, very strange question. And very different from the question, have you had lunch yet? Ever, we're asking them about their life experience. So we need to ask a question, a much more general question, something, for example, like, have you ever been to Japan? And the affirmative response would then be, yes, which word would you use? Again, already. So already is really used for the affirmative response. Same as the response to yet. The response to ever is also with already. Yes, I've already been to Japan. The negative. Which word would you use in the negative? So the negative of ever, you guessed it, it's never. So no, I have never been to Japan. But here you could also respond with the word yet. So have you ever been to Japan? You could say, no, I haven't been to Japan yet. But can you hear the difference in meaning? No, I have never been to Japan. This is just a fact. At the moment, until this moment in my life, I have never been to Japan. I have not visited Japan. But if you say, I haven't been to Japan yet, it means that maybe you plan or you intend to visit Japan at some stage. At least you would like to. If you use yet, there's an indication that something should happen, or you would like it to happen, or you want it to happen. So as you can see, it does change the meaning. Both are useful, both are used very often, but you need to be sure that you use the one that you intended. So that's it for today. Just a very short one, trying to clarify these very commonly confused words. There's another topic with still, which is often also confused with the word always, and I'll make a video on that in the future. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. If you enjoyed the content, it would be great if you could like the video and share, subscribe if you'd like to see any of our future videos. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, but until next time, take care. Bye bye.